Happy 2020. I hope that you are all making the most of it so far, and I do hope that these messages will help to illuminate January and beyond for all of us. That said, we are looking at 6 different readings in this Pick a Card session. So you may, of course, choose as many as you feel called to choose. And I just ask that you use your intuition and whichever method works best for you above all else in order to do so. So with all of that out there, thank you for all of your support as always, and the timestamps are going to be in the comments. Okay, so we have reading 1 right here marked with citrine, which among many other things is also often associated with creativity and decisiveness. Reading 2 is marked with a piece of sea green amazonite, polished, obviously. Amazonite is, among other things, associated with having a calming effect, with our health, and achieving balance. Reading 3 is marked with a, I believe, beautiful piece of polished blue-green jasper. I really think that's what that is. I could be wrong about that one. And it is associated with, among other things, a feeling of release. The need for sense of release and releasing things is what is coming through in association with this reading in particular. For reading 4, it is marked with a piece of rose quartz, which among other things is associated with peace, friendship, and trust. Reading 5 is marked with, I believe, a piece of polished purple agate. Among other things, it is associated with maturity, luxury, and intuition. Reading 6 is marked with a piece of polished Lapis Lazuli, I believe is how it is said. Love that color. And among other things, it is associated with honor, vision, and truth. I really loved and thought about how those 3 things connect very obviously to one another, especially in the sense of how honorable it is to seek and create our vision in the name of authenticity and in the name of living our truth, walking our true path. And then the Justice card is here with us just because this kept surfacing and coming through for the collective as I was creating these groups for us, seeming to say to be sure to allow the precise and impartial truth, to cut away the untrue, which is what we want to do in these readings as we move through them, as I interpret them, as you discern, bring your discernment to the table with us, right? And also bringing a sense of karmic justice, an energy of karmic justice to the table as well. Some ties may be cut. We'll see. We'll see what comes up in each of these readings. We're ready to start with reading 1 now, the citrine group. Again, associated with creativity and decisiveness. Okay, group 1, reading 1 with the citrine. You are represented here by the King of Air, the King of Swords,
in reverse. So someone is expending a lot of mental energy unnecessarily. Now, that might be specifically because they're not being honest with themselves, with someone else. That could be you, that could be someone close to you. In the recent past position, or really just the past in this case, but I feel like it is fairly recent, you do have the Four of Chalices. It's the Four of Cups in the Game of Thrones tarot here. It's the Four of Water. Someone's making an offer and someone else is withdrawing from that offer. And in this case, I do think that they have a good reason why. However, then shortly hereafter, what feels to me to be shortly thereafter, relatively shortly thereafter, they are in a position of being either dishonest or simply, like I said, expending a lot of mental energy. Is that regarding this offer, turning it down? So if that's you, be honest with yourself. Was there a really good reason why you turned down this offer, or do you regret it? I really think that I do think that for most of you, you had a good reason why, but then there are some of you where you also do regret it, though, at the same time. Um, in any case, expending this mental energy, whether there's deception associated with that or not, doesn't leave a lot of room for heart energy. So we're making a lot of head over heart decisions and spending a lot of time in our heads when I'm saying we, but you, maybe we, want to be taking action. And this expending all this mental energy, maybe hiding something, it's resulting in mental battles. So that's what we see crossing you here with the Five of Air, the Five of Swords. Certainly within your own mind, internally, you are fighting with you about whatever you're being dishonest with yourself about, or being dishonest with someone else about, or maybe with the fact that you are starting to sense and be aware that someone is being dishonest with you, because it could be flip-flop. That could be the case. This could be someone whose energy is covering and to a certain extent dominating you. They're certainly occupying your mind and your heart to the extent where that's what needs to show up for you in the reading. So if you're covered by that energy, I feel like it's a little, it's very heavy. It's taking you over in some sense, right? But in any case, mental battles ensue because of that. Unnecessary mental energy is expended. Deception, the lines of deception are perhaps crossed, and what do you know? Fights ensue, at least within your own mind, as a result of not being honest, or putting up with someone else not being honest, trying to figure out someone else not being honest, right? Either way, these are fights that we can't really win. And it really is time to take action, like we see here in your advice card. That's what I see in the Magician here, the Deviant Moon Tarot's depiction of the Magician. Because we've got this Five of Swords leading right into the future, the Five of Spears, the Five of Fire then. This is the Five of Wands. So 55 may hold an additional message for you. It may just be particularly significant to you personally for some reason around this time, but it certainly is speaking to me at the fact that it's a time of change. And then it's no surprise that your higher self, your higher mind, when your ego is quiet, knows that. We see that here in this Death card. Major transformation is upon you. And then we see that in the fives accumulating in the minor arcana cards. a time of change is trying to take over. Some part of you is resisting that, and your higher self knows that's happening when your ego is quiet. But this Five of Wands is talking about ego drama here in the future. These mental battles that then turn into ego drama, petty ego drama, maybe even feuds with other people. And if this doesn't involve other people, if it's all internal, then there are a lot of different sides of you at war. There are certain sides of you that are feeling ignored, shamed, forgotten, dismissed, departed from, just abandoned, completely unaccepted, which would make sense with this burning mental energy and not being honest with yourself. Is there an offer that you regret turning away from? Or is it the opposite? For some of you, it may be the opposite, that ultimately you just need to acknowledge that there was a good reason why you turned away from it. In any case, the extra mental energy, a possible deception, turns into mental battles. The mental battles turn into feuds. And all of this is simply wasted energy if you don't then allow this major transformation to take place, which means the death of one state of being, completely leaving one state of being, one way of living, one place of living, something like that, something leaving behind something, maybe multiple things that you thought could always, be a part of your life and of you. Your overall message here, the message that sort of ties the reading together, is the Page of Fire. It's the Page of Acorns in this deck, the SpirtSong Tarot deck by Paulina Cassidy. Discovery and enthusiasm are noted there. I'm not sure if you can read that all clearly, but it says discovery and enthusiasm. And I think that that's the attitude with which you need to approach this transformation moving forward. It's time to take action with confidence, with enthusiasm, with excitement, with sorry about the shaking of the camera. I'm trying to get better about that. But with an authentic spirit, with passion, all the things that the Page of Fire bring to the table for us. A youthfulness, a resourcefulness, a curiosity, really an innovative spirit as well. An intense spirit with that passion and that curiosity. These are the things with which you need to take action. These are the things that you need to allow to describe what this transition is like, this transformation is like for you. Because this struggle, the mental battle, the feuds, a war with yourself, certainly, perhaps with those closest to you, those around you, right? This is a natural effect, the cause being this dishonesty, this excessive burning of mental energy unnecessarily, and you pushing back against it. We are going to get just one more card here from the Dreams of Gaia tarot deck. Some of you are advised specifically to take action in terms of not only your passions, but how you can create a return, a reward, maybe a monetary benefit for yourself as well in sharing those passions. the Six of Earth. Now this tarot deck is a little different. It has 81 cards. I'm just reading with it intuitively in this particular session. I don't have the guidebook with me, in fact. But we can get so much from these images. They're gorgeous. I do love the Dreams of Gaia tarot deck. It's really the only really non-traditional deck in any way that I work with. I'm getting the sense, group 1, reading 1, that you have so much more to offer than you realize. Some of you may be fighting your way forward. So perhaps you were offered something, an emotional offer here in the past, and you had your reasons for turning away from it, yet there is a way to work with this individual or this offer in order to move forward without so much struggle. Maybe the offer is quite beneficial, but because of how the offer came in or who the offer came from, you turned it down for emotional reasons. But there are, practical, tangible, maybe financial reasons to accept. Perhaps you don't want to need their help, but you do, something like that. And so you are unknowingly fighting your way forward here. Your emotions may be keeping that from you, for some of you. That might be part of needing to bring curiosity, enthusiasm, and innovation to the table, resourcefulness. How can you work with this offer, with this person, if what you're not being honest about is that you're going to struggle without that accepting that offer? Because what I see here is that you are plentiful, you have much to offer, more than you know, and can release yourself. You see the key here, from the binds, the chains you feel that you're in. So another message is, if you feel you are in need, for example, are hoping for this same type of offer to come in, but from someone that you don't want to reject for emotional reasons, right? Then give. If you're hoping for an offer, make one, right? If you're hoping for a message, send one. If you're hoping for a message, send one. Some of you may be wondering why you showed up as possibly dishonest, or expending mental and unnecessary amount of mental energy. Perhaps, you need to be honest about what you need. You're waiting for some sort of message to come in, and you need to send one. Be honest about what you need instead of waiting to see if it comes along. And then, of course, you might be expending that mental energy unnecessarily and waiting and thinking about whether or not this message is coming in, when here, if correspondence needs to be had, this seems like an encouragement to me to initiate it yourself. There is Scorpio energy here. There is fire sign energy here. There is Aries energy in particular highlighted here as well, but I would never get too hung up on the signs. There's air sign energy, of course. So right there, you see we have so much of it already. There's an indication that there's a lack of focus here. So in what you are trying to manifest, in what you are trying to call in what you are trying to create, there is an indication that there's a lack of focus. And for some of you, we're talking about a romantic situation, while for others, we're talking about something that relates to your career, your business, your education. But it is, you know, a subject matter you're passionate about nonetheless, and something that you are actively probably have been trying to call in. And there and you have many areas of interest, and there is a need to focus. For some of you, there is a romantic situation where someone has been dishonest, and it's causing fights in a three-party situation, and ultimately a feud. Multiple suitors coming head to head in some sense. As the truth begins to unravel as to why an offer was truly refused. Yeah, where you put your energy is where you will see your results. I'm sorry, I'm just sitting with this for so long. It's quite interesting, group one. Some of you, it looks like, are actually missing a Libra, Aquarian, or Gemini, an air sign, very cerebral, intellectual, heady, logical, pragmatic type of energy. And I think you are regretting having turned down some type of an offer from them. There are mental battles um, ensuing, and there might be a three-party situation connected there. Someone in that situation is feeling smug, and I don't think that it's you. So you may want to ask yourself who then, which person that's involved in that situation. But again, I see then in the future still suitors, multiple suitors, egos, petty ego drama coming to a head, warring egos facing one another. And if that's the way that this unfolds, if it's a type of romance like that, you know, you're sort of wanting to go backwards almost here, almost wanting to resist the transformation, but it is happening. So if you feel torn between suitors, perhaps there's an indication to head toward an Aries here, and an indication to head towards the newer interest here, as a transformation does need to happen. And this is about a new passion, embarking on a new passionate journey. Something has to change. The expending the mental energy is what needs to change. The unnecessary mental energy is, if that's you lying to yourself, you lying to someone else, you putting up with someone else's deceit, or just you overthinking things and not allowing your heart to weigh in your decisions and your actions, not even allowing yourself to take action because you're so much in your head, then that is, whatever that expending of mental energy is what has got to change here. It's naturally creating all this struggle to show that it can't remain, to lead to the transformation, the change. You know that's what's happening. Something has to change. And it's that these chains have to come off. It's that these chains have to come off, whatever that represents for you specifically. And again, you have the key. You have the wealth, and you have the key to your chains. Is that opportunity you turned down still a possibility? If not, I see another one coming. That one is more represented as an emotional opportunity, whereas this one is a physical opportunity. That could just mean that it's maybe a little more immediate. It certainly suggests that if it is taken advantage of, it can offer you security in the future. It will have to be nurtured, cared for. It's just the beginning. I think that's part of this, beginning of a passionate journey that we see happening as a result of this transformation. But you need to focus your will. Focus your willpower. Some of you may be too concerned with what onlookers think at this time. Yeah, definitely. Too concerned with what this smug individual here thinks, or maybe that's you. And we see you concerned twice with an audience's presence. So there's definitely, we could get to the bottom of it in a personal reading, but there's definitely ego drama on the table in the reading that is sneaky, that you're not seeing, you don't know is there, you don't realize it's you being a slave to your own ego, and yet it's happening. It's just very sneaky. That's something to investigate. That's certainly something that I think wants to transform, is changing at this time. So we could just keep digging and digging down into this reading, but I think it's quite long enough, group one. Again, thank you for all of your support. If you are interested in a personal reading, the decks that we used, more information about those, or in making a donation to the channel, just scroll down to the description down below to check out all of that information, as well as a little bit more about what had already come through for the collective regarding January 2020. And with that, we will move on to reading 2. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Now we are on reading 2, group 2, the Amazonite. Okay, group 2. You're represented here by the Sword of Truth, the Ace of Air, Ace of Swords. Crossed by the Hermit, and interestingly enough, the Hermit is also in your advice here. So showing up both in the Radiant Rider-Waite and in the Deviant Moon Tarot in this reading. Your advice is going to be, sorry about the shaking of the camera, but your advice is going to be to walk away from a fight. Walk away with this truth. You know your truth. And it may be that you were not getting along with individuals that you needed to collaborate with for work purposes, for financial purposes, or some type of project. Could have had to do with something artistic, something related to healing perhaps, or even something educational, recreational. The collaboration of efforts was useful and efficient, and again, necessary. It may have also been playful at some point for some of you, but I do think that it's likely that that is where we see a conflict you're advised to walk away from. A clashing of personalities, perhaps, within the mix, within the collaboration. Something about the work you were doing. Um, and for some of you, a lot of you, you actually really liked, maybe loved doing that type of work. You just may not have liked working with those people at a certain point. But something about that work you were doing, or where you were doing it, or maybe who you were doing it with, has offered you this truth that now you know that's what you want to do, or that's the way you want to do it, or that's where you want to do it, or where you definitely don't want to do it, right? Now you know what type of personalities you need on this type of project, right? And it's actually the Hermit card here that's your advice. I'm sorry, I was saying the Five of Swords. It's sort of another piece of advice. This is what your higher mind knows when your ego is quiet. So it does offer you extra advice in that, and that is how I see it. Excuse me. But um, it's engaging further in fights, anymore in fights with these individuals that you were working with, perhaps, or whoever may just be trying to waste your time, drain your energy with any type of mental warfare. Engaging it is a waste of time. It's a fight you can't win. And so again, there is this piece of advice to walk away with your truth. It looks like what's happening is that you are telling at least a couple, if not a few people, what you think of them, about themselves, and walking away with not only your truth, but having um, told them their own as well, shown them their own as well. Um, But rather than heading into another collaboration, even if you have just learned maybe what types of personalities you need on this sort of project, like we were saying, I do see you being advised to go into a hermit mode for some of you. If it's a Virgo that we see crossing you, for some of you that may be the case. Or if it is a mentor of sorts in your life, a teacher of yours, either of those, then I do think you're being advised here to listen to that person's guidance, listen to that person's advice, um, work with that person, that Virgo, if it's a Virgo who is wanting to collaborate. Um, yeah, then certainly that may be someone to collaborate with, or if it is a mentor who's wanting to collaborate with, that might be the ticket. If it's a Virgo or a mentor who's offering guidance, it seems like it's good advice. I would certainly take it based on this. The reading seems to advise you in that direction. If who we see crossing your path is a mentor, someone who offers guidance of sorts, maybe a mystic, a healer of some type, then, but not necessarily your mentor, right? Then there is this message here that you're advised to do that type of work as well. So to maybe take that person's advice regarding that path, or their example regarding that path, right? Ask them questions regarding that path, because I do see this Queen of Cups energy here in the near future. So some of you are engaged in work that has to do with using your empathic abilities, using some type of mystic abilities of yours, or Some of you are interested in creative work. You're doing some type of artistic work. You are musicians, um, artists, painters, etc., etc., artists of any kind, poets. And whatever the healing art form may be, whether it's in the esoteric or in counseling or in creating things that heal others, this is then, I think, the work that you, as I said, were probably loving to do, even if you weren't loving the collaboration. So yeah, some of you have a good example on your path. Someone who's already ascended to a level of mastery in the field that you're hoping to continue in or begin in yourself. Certainly, if you find yourself offering a truth to a mentor or teacher that you know, then again, there is this advice and this encouragement and this push and shove really toward and down that path. I see a lot of you asking for something here in the near future, praying for, asking for something. You have a hold of this new truth, and some of you actually have a brand new idea regarding the work that you love to do, not just a truth, but a new idea, new perspective on it. And this ace, that idea, that viewpoint, vantage point, that idea, this ace is, as all the other aces, simply a seed that must be watered, cared for, nurtured in order to see it grow and blossom. But what this blossoms into is uh, brilliant, because it is born of truth. So you're asking for, I think, here in the future, a lot of you, something to help you to water and nurture this idea, to grow this idea, fully realize this idea. And it is not something that can happen overnight. The reading seems to be all about discipline and determination, as noted here on the Chariot card, which is Cancerian energy, and the card in this reading that really ties everything together for us. So discipline and determination are required of you. That is the response to this prayer, to this question you are asking in the future here. This growth can happen, this realization can happen of this idea and or new way of viewing and enjoying what it is you're doing, what it is that I think you're really enjoying doing. The response is, it's going to require discipline and determination from you. Setting goals and directing your sights, your energy toward them, not only energetically, but confidently, relentlessly, unapologetically. Other things will be sacrificed on that path. A lot of time and energy will go into this, it seems. Discipline and determination. Also, it also sends me vibes that means you're going to need a plan. You're going to need a schedule. You're going to need a routine. And there's also something here for some of you that there's the way that you were seeing things before recently, right? This new truth idea has surfaced, but there's the way that you were viewing the work you were doing previously, and then there's the way that you see it now. And you really need to utilize what you knew then based on your old vantage point and what you can enjoy now from this perspective, um, together moving forward. Not only that, but leaving space for the perspectives you still have yet to enjoy about this work or collaboration here that has been a focus for you. Yeah, you are. We're going to get one more card for you. You are, I think, finding here in reading two, I think we see you finding a healthier way to offer truth to people because you can, because it looks like you've had some sort of disagreement with people that you were probably trying to work with, or at least collaborate with in some sense for some reason. And like I said, not only do you leave with your truth that they did not take from you, a new truth, a new perspective, but you also, like I said, I think told couple few people about themselves, told them their truth, and sort of left with it in a sense because you changed it, made them realize some things, realize and or face some things about themselves. And so I think a lot of you are finding a healthier, kinder, perhaps, expression of those types of truths that you do want to share with others, and that it does help others to hear and to know, to face. So again, like I said, as an artist, as a healer, as a counselor, um, a mystic, someone interested in esoteric work or any sort of work where you where one uses their again empathic capabilities, psychic capabilities. Maybe specifically abilities, or yeah, maybe specifically using those abilities in relation to teaching others, healing others, healing connections, relationships for others, is what I was trying to get to. Helping others, yeah, win battles against emotional and mental foes, things of that nature. So we have we have the Four of Air here in the Dreams of Gaia Tarot is your last card. Just an additional message, might offer additional advice. So I hope you can see this. So this reading very well may be saying that you're simply you simply cross paths with someone who's a great example because it's someone who's taking time for themselves. As I said, you may be being advised here to take time away from collaborations, do some work, some studying, practicing, creating on your own. You're ready to feel your way through the next leg of the journey, whether that means just tending to your personal space and life. That's for a lot of you, relationships, etc., mind, mental and emotional health, um, or for others, working on something still, but needing to do so in solitude, in touch with yourself first and foremost. I think a lot of you are needing to protect your boundaries. Needing to protect your boundaries, to do that healing work, to do that creative work. Because I think a lot of what has happened here, as far as your reaction to these co-collaborators, these um, your fellow co-workers, whoever was with you on this project here in the past, I think a lot of what has happened is you've absorbed some of their energies, and you're starting to really own and deal with and level up the way you look at and cope with being an empathetic individual. However you use that type of work, or whether or not you use that in your work. I'm sure a lot of you have some, Cancerian vibes strong in your chart. If not, we're talking about that type of sensitivity and insecurity and anxiety that's often associated with the sign of Cancer. And so much of that, as it does for you here in this reading, comes from being such an empathetic individual that you're constantly surging with, coursing with, full of that type of really eager, easily expelled and attachable energy. It wants to escape quickly and attach to and be shared quickly, I suppose I should say. So it's readily available. There's so much of it, and you can feel these types of things and share these types of things and question these types of things in terms of thinking that it's your own energy if you're not aware. And I've talked about this few times in readings on the channel for different signs, and probably another pick of cards. It comes through though, and I think that is, maybe I'm making an excuse for some of you. This message could always be flip-flopped. Maybe someone else told you your truth, and you walked away feeling like someone else was feeling smug towards you about it, and that's the truth that you're holding. And that's why you're going within and taking some time to reflect, because someone told you about yourself and it hurt and it taught you, so this could all be flip-flopped. So maybe I'm making an excuse for some of you, but for some of you, I do think the case is that you felt someone else's energies, and it certainly heightened at least your own anxiety, insecurities, anger, maybe, um, just any sort of silly childish desire to engage in this type of fight we're talking about, where no one really wins, um for some of you. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the people who you told them about themselves, but you yourself, I think it's obvious, are looking for a better way to express that ability to see people's truth and desire to better them by letting them know what it is. I think we see you wanting to do that in a different way. and realizing some of why you have been incapable of holding those expressions in the past. If you're that sensitive to others' energies, and I do think you are. I do think you are. I think this is a major victory for you, that you realize this about yourself, that you realize how you want to channel it into your work, or at least something new about the work you've been, as I said, focused on. That you are ready to embrace a period of solitude, meditation, um, introspection, reflection, um, assessment of your own wisdom, and higher knowledge that you've collected, that you believe in, as you push forward. That period of time where you're spending a lot of time on your own will be part of the sacrifice. It will tidy your space. You will learn to separate that anxiety and insecurity which belongs to you from that which is swirling constantly around a lot of the environments you're exposed to, that you don't want to own. New meditation practices seem to be on the way, new organization, new cleanliness, maybe new schedules and routines for some of you who are in need of that. There's a message here of cleanliness being close to godliness, and that, as always with the Chariot card, that you may be literally journeying, you may be moving and relocating in order to make some of this happen, in order to live your truth, own your truth, do the work you want to do the way you want to do it, or even just for a time in order to have this solitude that we're discussing. But these victories that we're discussing, the victory of embracing that time alone, and everything else we've been discussing, it is just the beginning. It is just the beginning. So there's a long road here ahead. There is a journey ahead. And it's sort of like we're at that time period where it's time to get organized for the journey, and that is much more what you are called toward, rather than more of engaging in these arguments. I think that's over with anyway. Um, but it is time for getting away from those types of environments that make it hard for you to get to know yourself better and to secure your boundaries before you put yourself in that type of situation again. There's really a need for total isolation here. Now, that doesn't mean all the time totally cut off from the world. If that is the type of lengthy, deep meditation you feel you're in need of and that you are wanting, feeling called toward, but questioning, then there is a confirmation that you should listen to what you believe you need. It's healthy. Not to live your whole life that way, but certain individuals for certain periods of time, it's highly beneficial. Now, for most of you, though, what I think I see is that some isolation is necessary, meaning not that, not necessarily that you want to be in isolation all the time, of course, but that when you are reflecting on certain things, making decisions about certain things, applying certain truths, um, asking questions about your organization, your schedules, your limits, your time management, your personal, rules and boundaries, both professional and otherwise, um, etc. You may want to be contemplating those things, making those decisions having those discussions with yourself in total privacy, in solitude, somewhere where you're not being influenced by people who may have a completely different agenda. It's your life. There's a lot of the meat and potatoes that you need to handle on your own, you know, if you're going to truly be leading it. And so some of you, it's as mild as that to say there's some isolation that's necessary. You have some things that need handled that are just yours to handle, and you do want to handle them on your own, right? And even if it's just reflection and meditation again, so that you're not disturbed and distracted during that time. But others, yeah, if you're contemplating that really lengthy period of isolation, the reading's saying go for it. You know, and you have to have limits on this. Is that all you've ever done with your life? I highly doubt that's the case for anyone. This is something that you believe is truly healthy for you and that you're called toward. Who is to tell you that that's not what you need? I'm almost certain that's what you need. You seem to be the utmost authority as far as I'm concerned. If that's what you're thinking. And so this is your confirmation, and that is a big part of the victory that we see here for you. And that is only the beginning, because not only will the meditation be a lengthy journey, if that's the case for those of you specifically resonating with the message in that way, but also the changes that it's going to create in you are going to ripple effect to be something that you're, you know, managing, adapting to for a long time. You won't return the same, right? So that does seem to be the goal and the central energy here, right? Is this fresh perspective, this new idea, seeing things a new way. So I could just keep digging and digging, but somehow this reading is even longer than the first. So we will have to stop there for reading 2. Thank you again, as always. If you are interested in a personal reading, in donating to the channel, or finding more information about any of the decks that we've been using, just scroll down to the description box down below where you can find all of that information. And yeah, that being said, I think we'll move on to reading 3 now. Do make the most of January 2020. This is reading 3. The Jasper, I believe. Which, excuse me, I was telling you was very much associated with a feeling of release for me. So reading 3. As you can see, you have the 3 of Cups, the 9 of Wands here. This is actually representing your energy, what is covering you, and what you're crossed with, what is crossing your path here. The Hermit and the Lovers here represent past and future positions. The Page of Cups is telling us what your higher self, your higher mind knows when your ego is quiet. And the Ace of Wands here is a piece of advice. The 9 of Feathers, 9 of Air, noted here specifically as perspective and self-empowerment. In this depiction, Paulina Cassidy's SpirtSong Tarot, is tying the reading together, sort of a blanketing message for the whole reading, an overview, what the reading's really about. And this King of Earth is just what was on the bottom of the Dreams of Gaia tarot deck. when I shuffled the cards to get them ready for your reading, because I pulled one from the deck in the last 2 readings, and I'm going to do that for you as well. So we'll see if it's the King of Earth, if that resurfaces. The King of Earth is just what's with us now, on the bottom though, so we'll see how that adds to the energy as well. So we see you celebrating at present or soon, right around when the reading finds you. You've been in a period of solitude, looking inward for reflection, guidance, introspection, spending time on your own, maybe studying, meditating, trying to listen to that voice within. But now that you're coming back without, you do have loved ones around you, support, joy, people to celebrate with. You or someone in the mix, though, is fearful, worried about something from the past, needing help with something, perhaps, needing to ask for that help, or even just accept it where it's already been offered. Maybe a little anxious, a little apprehensive. It looks like it's someone in the mix of those that you're celebrating with who's feeling almost suspicious, at least apprehensive toward you, because you needed this period of solitude. Maybe you're someone who needs a lot of recharge time. You're very introverted after socializing with people. Or someone is fearful of how much you or the group is imbibing, drinking, or enjoying some other sort of substance you're partaking in, perhaps. Someone may be nervous about that. Yeah, if someone is an addict or an ex-addict and they're sort of acting like they might not be in the best spot, in the best way, if they're in this sort of crowd or this sort of environment where everyone's partying, celebrating, drinking, cheersing, uh, you know, dancing and being careless with what they're doing and saying, etc. They're afraid that they might, fall off the wagon. They might, go back to old habits. Then I'm sure that they're right. I'm sure they know themselves well enough to be saying that for a reason. It seems that they may attract the worst by expecting it. That may be what they're saying and saying and saying right before they go ahead and do that anyway. That is to say, they may be, pointing at that type of environment or situation or group as the reason why, when truly the reason why is because they're making the decision to put themselves in that situation anyway, or to allow that to happen, right? And it does look like it's someone else. Maybe it's part of this group, maybe it is not. Maybe it is someone who is interested in you, in being a partner of yours. But they're nervous about the type of company you keep, parties you have, activities you engage in. For some reason. Again, it may be their own personal hang up. Like if they were an alcoholic and they're looking to be a roommate with you, or get into a romantic partnership with you, or a business partnership with you, right? Then that may be a true concern for them if you and your friends are partying every night, even if there's nothing wrong with it for you, of course. You see, something like that. And you're advised to take this new passionate spiritual opportunity and beginning to birth something spiritual, inspirational into the world. Start something new. And I see that here in the near future with the Lover's card. This can be Geminian energy. We also have potentially Virgo energy on the table, as well as Earth sign energies here. I wouldn't get too hung up on any of the signs, right? All the Earth signs, Virgo in particular, Gemini, maybe Pisces energy there. But I also, with the Lover's card, more so see a choice of paths. Making the choice, you currently being on the path that leads to in the near future making the choice to walk down a new one, and you're advised to do just that. Nine is on the table, so 9 may be particularly significant for you. It may hold an additional message for you. It tells me you're nearing the end of a cycle, though you're not quite there yet. And the fact that this reading can be summed up with this version of the 9 of air, so the 9 of feathers in this deck, perspective and self-empowerment. Tells me again that this is about squashing someone's fear that is actually going to manifest exactly what they're afraid of, attract to them, magnetize to them exactly what they don't want to have happen. For a lot of you, anyway. So keep that in mind, whether it's you or someone near you. That's what we see happening here, is someone being so worried. Maybe it's of an addiction. Maybe it's of a three-party situation. Maybe someone, wants to start something, walk down a new path, begin a new romance or a new partnership of some kind, but they seem to be creating or a part of then a three-party situation that they're leery of, that they don't trust. And so again, whoever this is, whether this is you or someone near you who's got that fear, you may actually be pushing the party you're interested in toward that other party that you're afraid of for no reason currently. And so creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because a new beginning, a new partnership, two people, two energies merging and walking a new path together is happening in the near future. So for a lot of you, if you shy away from your opportunity to be a part of that partnership, you may be leaving someone else in a position where it's just naturally what happens is that they end up having to move in with or spend time with or do business of some kind with someone else. You feel inspired to walk this path. You feel like I said, that it's a new spiritual beginning. It's something you certainly feel excited and enthusiastic about, if not downright passionate. Whether it's a romance, a friendship, again, the opportunity to engage in a lengthy, beneficial business partnership. It may be you, because the Nine of Feathers is blanketing the reading, is the overview sort of card. That really needs, it may be you who really needs to move out of a state of fear and anxiety, and find healthy ways to curb that. Acknowledge that that is affecting you, and you have to find healthy ways of getting into your body and curbing that. So accepting it's there is the first step, like with anything. But for others, I'm going to pull you one, one more from the Dreams of Gaia here. But for others, desire. Interesting that we also see the Youth and the Maiden, which flew out together. Desire is the one that I'm going to leave up for us, though. You actually are very much encouraged to head towards your desire here. Maybe for a few of you to curb it, if you are the one who is fearful in this picture, and what you are fearful of is engaging in some type of partnership, collaboration, three-party situation, or just a friendship, like a socializing group that exposes you to alcohol, and you're trying not to engage, or some type of substance. I do think then your higher self, your higher mind is telling you that if you're questioning whether or not that activity holds too much power over you, indeed it does. In fact, this is suggesting that you downplay that. You're downplaying that to yourself a lot. But I'd say that's the small group, specific group, that the desire card here would be flipped for, and saying, like, to curb your desire. But for most of you, I see you being really encouraged to head toward it. For those few of you in that group that are trying to curb a habit like that specifically, I do see you being encouraged, then advised to try a healthier alternative. If someone is fearful of entering a friendship, a relationship, partnership of any kind with you, and you can see what's happening here, that they're afraid of your loyalties truly being to someone else close to you all, and that they are in fact going to ensure that you end up closer with that other party because they're backing away, then it looks like when your ego is quiet, you know that you need to make the offer here to get this partnership underway, to get this bond forming, so that the two of you can come together as, again, is it lovers, is it romantic, is it just a friendship, is it a partnership of roommates, whatever it is. You need to make the offer if you can see this person's hesitant, and exactly what they're afraid of coming to pass is going to come to pass. Because, as I said with like the roommate example, if they think, well, maybe your loyalties are to another friend, you may be in a position of, well, no, I really would rather live with you, but I'm about to move in with this other person because you're not doing anything, you're not making a move. And it might be a relationship. I'm not sure why I keep going all over all those again and again. I think for a lot of you, maybe it's all the above. But yeah, you may need to make the offer here. When your ego is quiet, you may need to make the offer here. And that might just be a great idea because you may be in a space of fear and anxiety and worry, and some of you waiting to find out what's going to happen yourself. So take you both out of your misery and just make the offer. Go for what you want. Let them know. Show them how it's done. Show them how to go for what they want, right? Additionally, or alternatively, there may be a message here of needing to listen to your dreams and listen to your subconscious. If you're unsure why you're fearful, what you may be fearful of, if you're unsure why you may be hesitating to make that offer we're talking about, uncertain if you can trust someone here, it looks like. Or even if it's flipped around and you're uncertain what to do about the fact that someone seems suspicious of you, like we were talking about potentially. Can't untangle why you're having trouble with chasing your desire. Why you need encouragement to follow and nurture what inspires you most, excites you most. Listen to your dreams, listen to your subconscious. As much as possible. As much as possible. And, write them down, record them. Sometimes, I can't get to the pen and paper. I'll just grab my phone and record them. And it's funny how when you listen back to them or speak them aloud or write them down, start telling someone else about them, maybe if you feel comfortable talking to someone about them, how when you hear or see the words back, it's can be sometimes clear and plain as day what your subconscious is trying to tell you. Once it's free from just being a thought bouncing around your mind, it can sound and seem so different and so obvious. And sometimes it takes days or weeks of chewing on it and contemplating it, and a couple of helpful ears who are willing to hear you out, or a couple of books, or looking up a couple of common symbols, or and it depends how interested you are in the project. But there are ways to remember. There are ways to remember, and there are ways to take your best stab at trying to figure out what you might be trying to tell yourself. Which is always a good idea, but it's specifically highlighted at this time. And what's going on with Neptune for us currently. I know that we've got Neptune in Pisces right now, so that seems like a particularly potent time to connect with the subconscious and dreams. That makes sense. The moon is in Aries currently. And so we should have that moving then into Pisces quite soon as well. I was just checking to see if it hadn't done so already. Not yet. So another reason that that could be particularly potent. And then we don't have Pisces season too far away. Of course, we're not even in Aquarius yet, but with this message of desires, I think that's exactly what you're going to uncover there in your subconscious and in your dreams, is this encouragement towards and message of wanting to chase those desires, needing to, it being part of you living authentically, living honestly, facing these fears. And there's really a message here of utilizing that which you feel is trapping you. So I think that is the reason that I began to ramble about the dreams. Thank you for sticking with me. I love to talk about how important that is. I mean, who is better qualified to try to discern and decipher what you mean to tell you than you are? It's just difficult to convince me that anybody's more qualified than you are. But there is this ability here to take what might be trapping you, working against you, and turning into something that can work for you. So whereas you may be thinking about what you're afraid of, or thinking about whether or not someone else who's fearful is going to attract the worst to you all or to themselves, waiting to see what they do with that, or waiting to see what you do with it, right? Instead, all of that mental power could be turned inward at deciphering and interpreting those messages from the part of you that knows the most about not only you, but so much more than we can consciously talk about and conceive of. Just this infinite, vast ocean of knowledge and wisdom that you were just connecting with, right? You were just connecting, you were just there. I think for a lot of you, it's going to tell you something to do with this inspiration, give you this inspiration, or tell you something to do with it. It's going to set you on fire about it, It's like the joint was in your hand and you were thinking about smoking it, but then Spirit's going to reach out and light it, and you can't help yourself. You're like, well, now I have to hit this, right? More or less. So it looks like freedom, commitment, but freedom. So with that, I will say that I do hope the needed insight was able to reach you here in reading 3. And thank you again for all of your support to Lunatics Tarot. If you are interested in a personal reading, donating to the channel, or finding out more about the decks that we are using in this reading, just scroll down to the description box down below and check out all of that information there. And we will go ahead and move on to reading 4. Do make the most of January 2020.
This is reading 4, the Rose Quartz group. Which we noted is sometimes connected to friendship, trust, and peace, right? The Queen of Water, the Queen of Water in the Dreams of Gaia tarot deck here, is with us just on the bottom of the deck, as I shuffled the deck to ready it for you all, group 4. So we'll shuffle again and draw one card. Maybe the queen will resurface for us here, but we have another queen. The Queen of Fire is crossing you. You're represented here by the Magician. The Hierophant represents your past. The Knight of Cups, Knight of Water, represents your future. We have the Four of Water as a piece of advice, and the Fool is your third major arcana card here, and is what your higher mind knows when your ego is quiet. Representing what your higher self knows to be true about your current situation. So I see that some of you may be dealing with a water sign energy, a fire sign energy, an Aries specifically, or a Taurus perhaps, but I wouldn't get too hung up on the signs. They're just all energies that are sort of highlighted because they're on the table, but they're all in all of our charts, so that could be for lots of different reasons. You actually are looking like the manifester in this spread, in this situation. Maybe you're dealing with an Aries who your thoughts are consumed with, perhaps for some, but for many of you, you are manifesting, you are focusing your will, concentrating that focused will on manifesting something. You have all of the tools that you need to manifest what you want now, and I think you know that. It may, for some of you, just be a matter of deciding what that is. But I think for a lot of you, you are already making moves, making an attempt, making your intention and your will known, putting that will into focused action as well, right? Taking action. More likely a lot of you are taking action, having made that decision. Some of you still may be deciding how you want to go about, or how or what you want to go about manifesting, though you know you can. And I see that you're actually advised here to withdraw from an opportunity that is coming in. So we'll keep that in mind moving forward. If not to withdraw, then to be very aware of why you are withdrawing. I think you need to be very alert here in the future. I think you need to be very discerning with an offer coming in, and the spread, the cards, your guidance here would advise that you take a look at the real reasons to withdraw from that offer, and yes, pass up on that offer. It is not as mature as it needs to be. It is not as reliable as you would want an offer in this situation to be. And it is regarding something you are trying to manifest. And I don't just mean that you're putting it on your vision board, putting it in your journal, saying affirmations about it. You are and have done those things as well, but you're also taking action regarding making magic happen, making this come into reality. It's more than just a wish. You have the tools you need to make it real, and you are doing what you need to do in the real world, in the physical world as well.
And like I said, I see that a lot of you, you've already made a commitment to this path, to manifesting this thing. But whether you've decided, or even for the few of you who are still choosing what to manifest with the power and the tools that you have specifically, either way, I think you need to be wary of an offer coming in the near future. Sometime this month anyway. And you know, like I said, again, look at the real reasons that it might be practical to withdraw from this offer for now. I think that's the case for many of you anyway, with the Knight of Cups here, because this can often be someone that even if they mean well, they incidentally can mislead someone or lead them astray, just by making lots of promises and by sharing a lot of intense emotions that they likely and often are truly experiencing. But that doesn't mean that there's going to be a total follow through with those promises, with those offers, with those emotions, that they're going to necessarily last, that they're necessarily going to mature in the way that this person thinks they're going to, or is saying that they're going to. And I think that there is someone that you are either working with or looking to regarding your work, who is warning you about the same offer. So, you know, this probably isn't the only place that most of you are hearing this. Or at least, right, this is January in general, so that doesn't mean that you've necessarily heard it yet. But there likely will be someone else who's cautious of this individual. And that might even be cause enough for you to push back. I'm not sure who this Queen of Wands character is. And it's not to say that it can't be an aspect of yourself, but it's seeming like, excuse me, like this is a mature feminine, doesn't necessarily mean female, but a mature feminine character who you may identify as a Sagittarian, an Aries, or a Leo, or who simply may embody those bold, passionate, intense, vital, beautiful, very sociable, persuasive qualities that type of fire sign would carry, who is on your path regarding what you're trying to manifest. So someone in your environment where you're trying to manifest, someone who has your ear a lot of the time because they're family or friend or coworker, or even somebody that you're working with here. Or it's some aspect of, version of yourself that steps forward and has a little bit of suspicion toward this offer, toward this person. I'm not saying that they're a bad person or that it is, you know, a malicious offer. It just can be a lot of excitement and emotions overflowing on a topic toward a person or a topic that are again real for the time being, even, but temporary nonetheless. And so again, that's why I say there may be no follow through. But either way, whether this Queen of Fire here is representing a bold, passionate, feminine, and this case, rightfully suspicious aspect of yourself, or someone around you who's offering you advice or a different perspective regarding this very seductive offer that's coming in, okay? Either way, don't fight back against it in spite of yourself. Don't push back obstinately in spite of yourself, right? Really, really review that. Really make sure. And it seems to fall in line. It seems to be consistent with what we've been talking about. And I think I've said it enough and repeated it enough. But that the sort of overview for the reading, which is here, it is the 5 of fire. The 5 of acorns in that SpirtSong tarot deck. Challenge and growth noted here. I'm not sure if you can see those words, but it says challenge and growth in this case. It feels interesting. It feels like you're getting a lot of pushback. So you also may just push back against the advice of this Queen of Wands simply because you don't like an aspect of them, the way that they're delivering the advice, or you do not like what they're saying, right? Because this is a time of challenge and growth for you. You feel that you're getting pushback from a lot of areas, and you're needing to push back in a lot of areas. You are being challenged in order to grow. You do not get this opportunity isn't the one for you, nor are the ones that you can no longer reach, cannot yet reach. Yeah. And so it's a challenge that is causing you to grow, because there is an opportunity then that means a way forward then for you that you don't yet see, that isn't apparent yet. And that's part of this time of challenge and growth for you. That is, for a lot of you, the main challenge here. What's interesting is that you have the 6 of Earth as an additional message, and another group already got this. I cannot remember now if it was 1, 2, or 3, but someone else, I believe, did get the 6 of Earth already. Now, what was standing out to me about this card before, and I think it is relevant again, and I'll see what else comes through, but this would indicate to us, sorry about all the camera shaking, I am working on that, but this would indicate to us that you see you have yourself balanced. Yes, there's an equal give and take happening here, but there are also chains holding things in place, weapons at the ready, and the ability to free yourself from the situation. Wealth and abundance, not just near, but actually in hand. It seems to me like in this case, in this reading, a message about someone feeling that in order to maintain and keep, maybe deserve and be worthy of their wealth, their abundance, the wealth and abundance they manifest, they must also be ready to protect it, be ready to fight for it, be ready to defend it. Some of you be ready to seek and or protect it at against all odds, whatever the cost. Interesting. interesting, and yet there's this hint here that with your advice being to withdraw from an opportunity and someone in your environment being suspicious of the offer that's about to come in for you, so maybe what we see here is you making an offer or an emotional expression towards someone here that's crossing your path here in the near future. Could be that fiery feminine energy we were talking about, and this is their beliefs and the way they feel they need to guard themselves. Because these two forces here seem to be opposing. The energy, the one withdrawing from the offer, feeling they need to withdraw from the offer. And that is actually your advice. Seems to be at odds with this energy here in this stage of challenge and growth. Now, of course, this, as I said, is your advice. This is an overview for the reading, but I also see these characters opposite one another here. So this may be how you're feeling, what you believe. It may be someone that you're dealing with. This idea that one needs to be shackled to the weight of fighting for and fighting to defend wealth and abundance in order to have it, to keep it, to be worthy of it. For some of you, someone does see your self-worth here this month in the future. Maybe that's part of what we're talking about, and part of why the offer seems worthy and genuine to you if you are on the receiving end, if you are the one who needs to weigh out an offer. I think what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot of pushback for withdrawing from that offer. And listen to your intuition above all else. But again, if it's one coming to you, it may be someone who sees your worth. You may want to push back against the person advising you to withdraw from the offer. Because you think that what they're saying is that you need to be defensive, you need to defend or fight for your wealth, your abundance. Maybe that is that person's beliefs, but that doesn't mean they're giving you bad advice. It doesn't mean that their intuitive read on this person is wrong. In fact, for a lot of you, your own intuition, when your ego is quiet, your higher self, your higher mind knows that this person making the offer is being foolish in some respect of that offer, of that expression. Or you would be foolish to think you can make this decision without anyone else's input, considering you are new to whatever it is that you are engaging in, whatever it is that you're making a decision about, that you're receiving an offer in. That seems consistent with the Magician for me. Another reason that we have Aries energy there, yes, but also, well, also Geminian energy too. But also just this idea that you're just starting to manifest something, so you may be starting something relatively new. And so even if you don't want to take this individual's advice, one person's advice regarding said offer or expression that's coming into you, as I said before, just consider it carefully. So if you are new to what you're doing at this time, then you may want a second opinion, even if you don't like the one that is being handed to you, right? But yeah, I do think you're going to get a lot of pushback when you do withdraw from this offer, this expression, when you reject it in some sense. You may not, a lot of you, there's so many different messages coming in this time, but we'll just go ahead with it. A lot of you may not want to be perceived as this individual here, someone who would be this rigid. Defensive almost. Territorial, protective. Guarded. This guarded, I guess. Regardless, it's a period of challenge for a reason. It causes you to grow in a way that you couldn't without this exact type of challenge, if not this exact challenge. And there are always times when you receive pushback. This is just one of those times for you. There's just going to be a lot of that. Maybe a lot of competitors. In some sense. A lot of ego drama here, so make sure that's not your own. There's also an indication here that investigating the situation, maybe offer specifically with curiosity, could lead you right to the information that you need, rather than investigating it with, fear or any sort of defensiveness. Even if that's the way someone else is behaving or the way you're being perceived, doesn't have to it doesn't have to be the truth of the situation, right? There's also an indication here that, like I said, there could be some competition on the table. So someone else may be interested in the offer that you intuitively know is perhaps, as we said, a little bit immature, a little overzealous. That may make that offer seem more appealing if you see someone else ready at the ready to take what you're ready to turn down. But there's this reminder here to remain mindful of, remain aware of the commitment you have made in the past here. What were your resolutions for 2020, right? What was happening in December, or, you know, what promises did you make to yourself about, you know, what you were going to remain faithful and loyal and committed to? Some type of routine, some type of goal, right? A relationship with something or someone. That'll be different for everyone. There are many different messages coming through as far as what that commitment could have been, but it is to something that is very important to you to call in, to manifest at this time. And there's this general feeling that you're not quite vibrating at the frequency that you think that you are. And so you may be attracting not exactly what you are hoping to. Again, a time of challenge in order to grow. A time of being challenged in order to grow. For a lot of you, you have dedicated yourself in the past. I would say probably resolutions specifically for some, but like definitely December-ish time period of 2019, right? You've decided to remain committed to the type of energies you want to engage with, that you want around you, that you want in your immediate circle, that you want to be dealing with on a regular basis, how you want to protect yourself, your time, your space, your energy in general. And your higher self, your higher mind, when your ego is quiet, you know that this is certainly can be a brand new beginning for you if you stick to that commitment. But as you try to call in and manifest new relationships, friendships, opportunities, offers, into your present moment, you are also going to find, as I said, that you also attract some things that aren't quite on your level, that aren't quite right. And there's the challenge, so that you grow. Are you going to stick to that commitment about the type of energies, offers, etc., that you want to accept and live with? Because it may not be a, sorry about all that, it may not be a a brilliant new beginning, in the sense that, well, that's not what I mean. It is brilliant, but it may not be a loud and bright, shiny, flashing new beginning. Like, it may not be something that everybody sees, is what I'm trying to spit out. It may not be something that it really attracts your attention or anyone else's, but it's just inside you. It's in your mind. It's in your heart. You know that this is a whole new start if you can truly stick to those commitments you were trying to make. So we are on reading 5 now with the purple agate here. Group 5, reading 5, purple agate, which we said a couple of things about, right? We mentioned a couple of things that it is associated with. That was maturity, luxury, and intuition. Maturity, luxury, and intuition. And you do have not only the Queen of Cups representing your current energy, the Queen of Water here representing you, but also the 9 of Coins, 9 of Pentacles, 9 of Earth, a card, an energy of independence, standing on one's own, appreciating the abundance one is able to acquire and maintain for oneself on one's own. Financial, physical independence. I'm sorry about the little bit of shaking. And we also have the Counselor here with us. I know you can't see this whole card, but the Counselor in the Dreams of Gaia Tarot, this is just what's on the bottom of the deck as we get started from shuffling from the last group, right? But we're going to shuffle and see if this resurfaces. We're going to shuffle and get one card from the Dreams of Gaia Tarot as an additional message for you. What's really interesting as well for me, we were already talking about maturity and luxury, and I see that in the past you've already been enjoying your own and are maturing emotionally currently. But then the reading is about a counterpart to the energy that you're in now. With the King of Shells, the King of Water, really sort of residing over the reading. This is like a blanket energy tying everything together. So there is soulmate-like energy here. There is this pair, this bonded pair, this masculine and feminine half, the King and the Queen of Water. So some of you may have a counterpart, a soulmate who is causing you some worry, some fear, some doubt, some sleepless nights, some anxiety, or vice versa. Maybe that is the energy that they're feeling when thinking about you currently. And this doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic bond, right? Your soulmates can be friends, family members, and just because we see the feminine and masculine half doesn't mean that it has to be someone external to you either. We could be talking about 2 aspects of yourself. In any case, if you're waiting on an intense, passionate, fiery message in the near future, or really in the future position here, so in this month, within this month, I don't see it coming this month. The Ace of Cups here represents what your higher self knows, what your higher mind knows when your ego is quiet and the world is talking about a piece of advice. So you are currently feeling your way through your present situation. So you're very much aware of this energy, this, again, fear, anxiety, doubt, worry, maybe even insomnia there. Stress, a very stressed person. You're very aware of that energy, whether it's your own or someone's close to you, because you're feeling your way through. So you're feeling that, whether it's you experiencing it or you being very in tune with what someone else is going through. And you've just come out of a space of, again, luxury, and are currently maturing into this, I feel. This ability to empathize, but also hold your boundaries. Ground yourself as well. The Queen of Earth wanting to show. There's so much youthful energy in all of these readings. The Maiden and the Youth keep showing up just below the additional message card that wants to be a part of the reading. So we have harmony and integrity noted here as well. Again, blanketing the reading, sort of tying everything together. So I do think that this is about you coming out of a period of independence, knowing that you can stand on your own, but maturing in an emotional way and in a way of learning how to really ground yourself in order to match this more masculine watery energy. Maybe it's a Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio you're dealing with in particular, perhaps, but it's more likely it's just someone who's very emotionally mature, very reserved about when they share their emotional truths with whom they share their emotional truths, not because they are shy or insecure at all, but because they're very aware of and in the habit of observing everyone else's emotions, and so they act accordingly. You know, and reserved and diplomatic is completely different than shy. They own their truth, but they know they don't owe it to everyone, and that they don't need to display it and share it all of the time. So they're very, reserved in the way that they express those things. But that, again, could just be an aspect of you that's awakening. This could be a partner you're wanting to match that we're describing. Call in, attract, etc. Or this could be an aspect of you that's awakening. You're maturing as an artist, as a healer, as a counselor. For a lot of you, we had counselor at the beginning, right? And you should know that, whether you're a creative type or, a mystic or an energetic healer of any kind, etc. They're all healers. They're all healers. Again, a big part of what is maturing about you is your ability to grow these aspects of yourself and to ground yourself as they grow. But there is somewhat of a challenge here in this anxiety or fear that you're feeling. And again, it may not be your own, but you are empathetic enough that you're still feeling this from someone. And you need not send them an intense message. And you need not expect one if it's the other way around, that you might be hoping for one or kind of expecting one, wondering if one's coming. This can also be representing that a project of some kind is lacking enthusiasm, that you're overwhelmed, have too much on your plate maybe, your energy spread too thin perhaps. That might apply for some. I think if anything, that's actually the cause for this anxious energy, though, which I really think is mostly outside of yourself. It's just something you're feeling. Maybe some of you are unaware of that, where that anxiety is coming from, and you should know that that might very well be someone else's, and this passion project lacking energy or someone's energy being spread too thin may be why they are feeling that way, and then you are feeling a lot of what's coming through for them. And you need to close off to it a little. You either, okay, so your higher mind is aware of this, this Ace of Water in reverse, which is speaking to me of someone being shut off, closed off. And for a lot of you, what it's saying is you do need to shut off to that, own the ability to sense those things, but then, you know, of course, recognize that that is not yours to carry, and close off to it a little. Others of you need to realize that you've been so closed off to it that you don't even realize that those feelings aren't all your own. For those of you who these are your feelings, this is your experience, I think it's part of you maturing into this sort of next level of healer. Owning also the masculine side of your healing, of your artwork, energy work, etc. Completely owning and more fully managing the fact that all of this type of work, all of this type of relating for you is emotional and springing from your wealth of emotions, your inspection of your own emotions, your awareness, honesty about your own emotions, ability to look at them, need to look at them, right? There may also be an unrequited love here on the table. A false love, an unrequited love. So there may be a younger fire sign, Aries, Sag, or Leo, who has worries about you, about whom you have worries, who is exiting the picture, or, you know, just it's becoming more clear what your all's true connection is or is not around this time, because for some of you there's this awareness of a false or unrequited love, and if there are a couple of suitors around, in your heart, on your mind, it looks like, again, the younger fire sign energy is the one that would be the unrequited or false love. The more mature, masculine, probably water energy, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, again, would be the energy showing up as a match, as a soulmate. Again, that doesn't have to be romantic, and we could just be talking about the one who's more emotionally mature versus the one who's more fiery and youthful, maybe boastful, energetic, but energy sort of, again, spread too thin, as we said earlier, scattered. And so your advice is the World card. It's not time to complete something. Someone may be fearful of success here, and it may be, time to take note of that. Maybe a project, a passion project, is lacking energy because someone is afraid of their own success here, and that's what's causing worry, and that's what's creating sort of a roadblock or stunting you as you try to embody and fully realize these other masculine aspects of the work you're doing, or the you know, just area of your life you're focused on in general. Is it you or someone close to you who's closed off here? Is it something you need to do for once or at this point in time, or is it something that you've been doing too much of? It's either not time it's either not quite time for a completion and a graduation and a leveling up, and the end of a major life cycle and the beginning of next, or again, someone in the situation is afraid of their own success and needs to be aware of it. Maybe both for some. This also tells me there's a celebration on the horizon. It's, again, just not quite time for it. And there will be a need for that deserved celebration when it is time. And we could keep digging and digging into this message for group 5, reading 5. Thank you again for being here. But we will end it there. We're already over 15 minutes in, so I hope that the needed insight was able to reach you here. And if you are interested in a personal reading, donating to the channel, or in learning more about the decks we've been using, anything of that nature, just scroll down to the description box down below, and you can find all the information you need. Do make the most of January 2020. And I truly look forward to doing another reading for you as soon as I can. So with that, we will move on to reading 6. Hi, group 6. Reading 6. This is the Lapis Lazuli group. Apologize for the shaking. I am going to get better about that. You have the page of shells, the page of water, 2 8s bordering that. Actually, we're going to put these here. 2 8s representing you and what's crossing you. So the 8 of fire there and the 8 of air as well. This page of water, specifically noted in this deck as intuition and inspiration, is what is blanketing the reading, tying everything together. The page of earth is representing your past for us. The Knight of Swords, Knight of Air, your future. We have the 8 of Air again as what's on your higher mind, this time right side up. What's on your what's in your crowning thought. So what your ego knows when what your higher self knows when your ego is quiet, rather. And then the page of earth repeats as well. Very interesting, group 6. So 2 8 of air, 1 reversed, and 2 page of coins. And they're all coming from different decks just about. So we've got the Radiant Rider-Waite, the Deviant Moon, Game of Thrones Tarot, and we also have emotions here on the table with us from the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. And I would like to draw you another card, but as I start to say that, I feel like emotions may be really relevant here, actually. So we'll see where this takes us. This is just an additional message for us, and actually in this case, this is just what's on the bottom of the deck as we begin after shuffling from group 5. So, expedited progress in your present moment. I see in the past here you've been learning, you've been planning, you've been a student of some kind, a scholar of some kind again. Planning for your security, maybe financial specifically. We see he's catching a bag of money here. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that exact type of wealth, right? Some type of resource. gaining momentum, gaining energy, learning lessons though, learning lessons. Some of you as a student, some of you just as a student of life, right? And because of those lessons you've learned, those plans that you are now executing, that those plans you made, the plans for the security, you are seeing the expedited progress presently, and you no longer feel a victim of your circumstances. 888 is speaking of prosperity. If it's not here, it's certainly on the way. But you need to keep planning. This expedited progress is absolutely a product of the planning for your security, the planning for your future, the studying, the learning, accepting the lessons you're being handed, making the most of them, making the most of them. A lot of you may have Pisces energy in your chart. You may have a tendency to slip into daydreaming, escapism of any form, whether it's food, television, alcohol, etc., etc. All things that can be great in moderation, but we can overdo it. Maybe you just have Piscean tendencies and you don't even know it's highlighted in your chart. We do have Neptune in Pluto at this time. So this expedited progress, not only is it a direct result of the planning, the studying, the learning, but it probably helped you to escape from a victim mentality because of those types of tendencies to slip into your daydreams. And growing things like intuition and inspiration are, if anything, in my personal opinion, underrated. But again, too much of anything, even the best thing, even the greatest thing, can lead to poor results, to, in this case, feeling trapped. So there's a reason why that expedited progress has helped you to escape from a victim mentality, whatever it is, and your higher mind knows that at this time, if you overindulge in your dreams, your wishes, your fantasies, your preferred modes of escapism, this victim mentality, this woe is me attitude, this feeling trapped, feeling like you're unable to control your own life and self and actions is not too far away. It could come back again. That's not to say don't indulge in your dreams, not just your daydreams, but your literal subconscious dreams, what's being communicated to you. That's not to say don't indulge in those things and in your emotions. It's not to say don't. Allow them to inform your work, your progress, your path, let them tell you what you need to learn next, what you need to focus on in your plans of security and education of some kind next. This is a message of love and security. Above all else, security, but with love. Yes, indulge in growing your intuition and listening to your dreams and your emotions. Don't overindulge, because you could find yourself back here again when you are on your way to prosperity. But what you need to do is what you've already done, because what you're headed toward is the Knight of Swords here. Now, he might overthink in trying to plan. He might be reckless in how quick he's trying to plan. No. Your advice is to do what you've already done. Plan the way that you have planned. Learn the way that you have learned. Learn that slowly, perhaps. Learn that patiently. Learn with that attention to detail, perhaps. Make those plans. Learn the lessons that you still have to learn, different ones, new ones, with integrity. Take your time. Because he, here in what's on your path now, he can be reckless and he can get lost in overthinking. Another way that you can get trapped by your own thoughts again. Do it as slowly, patiently, meticulously as you have been doing it. Do it like it's the first time again, like you're doing it from the beginning again. Yes, you have some of this type of work under your belt and it has gone well, but that doesn't mean it's time to rush now. That isn't showing integrity to those who would then benefit from what it is that you're learning, right? This is about your path to prosperity, your security above all else, but a message sent with love too. So I do hope that the needed insight was able to reach you here, Group 6. We'll stop our message there for today, but I truly look forward to doing another one for you just as soon as I can. If you're interested in a personal reading, in donating to the channel, or in any of the decks that we use today, just scroll down to the description box down below to check out that information. Do make the most of January 2020, and I will have another reading for you very soon.